I tell other people this is sometimes you have to do what you have to do to be able to get to do what you want to down the
Yes.
road.
All right, all right. What is up, everybody? This is Roy and welcome to episode 008 of Breaking Down Business. If you are new to this channel, we interview everyday business owners and hear them break down their business from their success, strategies, struggles, down to their tools and hardships. So stay tuned all the way till the end because we have really good takeaways that you guys can learn and implement in your business today. So, on today's episode, we have Massiel Ullsmith with That Girl and Co. I'm assuming company. She was an operations manager turned custom furniture and now creating a space for female owned creatives. Please welcome Massiel. Hello.
Hi,
How are you?
I'm really good. Thank you for
Uh,
having me.
Well, no, thank you. Thank you for being here. And I love the space. I love your story. So if you can, please do kind of share us like where you are, what you do, to all of our like listeners out here.
Okay, so I have a studio, a creative studio in downtown Lamont, Illinois. Just opened at the beginning of December. So my actual space is pretty new, but it's a space to create basically for everybody, but it is geared more towards women and girls to be able to explore their creativity. So I wanted to create a true creative studio where we do all sorts of different kind of things. And so 8 years ago, like you said, I had gotten into building custom furniture. And so I build. And when I started building, there weren't a lot of resources for women in woodworking.
Yeah.
Everything, I wasn't comfortable. I was intimidated by taking a class that was run by a retired shop teacher,
Mhm.
and so I had an idea to create a space where I could teach women how to do something like that in a safe space taught by a woman. So the creative classes go from power tools classes all the way to painting classes. We do charcuterie classes. We do hand knitting class because I like deeply
Yeah.
believe in the power of being able to explore all of your creativity to find something that you might be gifted at or you might
Right.
just really love even if you're not great at it.
Right. No, how did you come up, I guess, with that? Because again, touching base, you said you started doing first like custom furniture and like learning about woodworking. Like, what was your first piece? I'm already like semi intrigued of like what was your first piece? How did you even get into it?
So I was home with I had decided to stay home with full time with my girls. And I've always loved design, interior design. I've always been creative and sitting around our pretty new home. And it was like a new build. So it was
Mhm.
very, um, I mean, very kind of cookie cutter and looking around, dreaming of what I wanted on the walls and doing like millwork and things like that, but not wanting to hire it out because I was home now with my kids.
Right.
And then I came across something online that kind of showed how to do it. And I thought, you know what? I'm going to try it and we'll see. I did not own a power tool. I think my husband had a power drill. I never really, but I always I always worked with my hands my whole life. And so I went to Home Depot and I bought a handsaw and a miter box and I created trim work all over my living room and it turned out good and I loved it. I loved the process of it. I loved the feeling at the end of it and
Right.
it looked good and I saved a ton of money and it just grew from there. I thought, you know what, I'm going to go and I'm going to buy a power saw and I'm going to learn how to, because then the ideas, it was like a box, like the gate open. Cause I'm like, wait, if I can do this and I don't have to wait to pay somebody,
Right.
forget it. And so I just started doing another project in our house and I basically renovated our cookie cutter home into a custom. Our inside was pretty much every room had something custom to it. And then I wanted a kitchen table and I
Right.
thought, what if I try making one? And I did, and it turned out. And, I started doing things for myself and I started building, I built a computer desk, coffee tables, bookshelves. And then through the encouragement of friends that were like, why don't you try starting a business? For me, I was like, I
Yeah.
mean, I do this for myself, but who's going to pay me to do this?
Right.
I didn't go to school for this. I'm not trained. I'm not certified. And one of the best pieces of advice I heard was, if it doesn't work out, then what? So what? You're in the same spot you are in right now. And I thought, my gosh, you're right. I tried it and it didn't work out. So
Oh my.
it went from there and I started getting orders and then I kept learning. I stayed curious. I kept learning and I just grew from there.
Wow, that was a great piece of advice that you just provided us, and from your again friend to even just say that, just starting that, having that, and got nothing to lose, right? But
Yeah.
hopefully everything to gain, what you have.
Yeah.
Talk us through now. Again, you not going to business school, you not knowing anything about running a business.
Yeah.
What struggles or what things did you have to like look up and learn when you have now, I guess, a studio, just in general?
All of it.
She's
All of
like,
it,
"Where
every single
how
part
much
of it.
time do we have?"
Exactly. Exactly. So I was fortunate. So I have a marketing degree.
Okay.
Um, but I had never run a business. I had never opened a business. And I was
Yeah.
fortunate to now I think it's 6 years ago. I was asked to open a studio for what's now a national franchise. At the
Oh,
time, they were just starting out. Yes. So I thought to myself, because for years and years, even after having started my own furniture and home decor business, it was safe. I was doing it in my house. I had no overhead. I had,
right.
and I would have friends or family say, you need to like open your own studio business, whatever. And in my head, I'd convinced myself I can't do, I'm the creative part. I'm not the business part.
Because there's
My
like 2
strengths
sides.
aren't in accounting. My strengths
Right.
aren't in organization. I'm the stereotype messy creative. I am. And that's how I work and I put out good stuff.
I pull
But
I call it organized chaos. If you look
yes,
at where my desk is, you're like, "Where's this piece of paper? Hold on, I know exactly where it is."
100%. If I ask my husband to get me something, he's like, "Where is it?" I'm like, "It's under that box, but behind that lumber,"
We c we
he
could
hates that game. He hates that game. But and so I convinced myself that
Yeah.
because I wasn't perfect at everything, and my strengths weren't everything, that I couldn't open my own business. So when I was asked to open studios for this other company, I
Uh,
thought that's like the perfect opportunity. I could do it. I could do what I thought I wanted to do without any risk because it was just a job for me. They were
right.
paying for it. It was there, and it ended up being a great opportunity in the sense that I got a 5-year education on how to open and run a business because
Yes.
did all of it. They were in Wisconsin, so they
Right.
weren't here. I mean, I was managing, I'm from picking the locations to hiring to creating the employee manual to, I mean, literally all of it, except paying the bills and the higher up. They were
Right.
coming at one point, I was designing for them. And it was a lot and it was hard work, but I didn't realize that what it was doing was preparing me to be able to do it myself. And
Oh,
that's and
yeah.
that's one, if I could just throw this in there, like one big
Absolutely.
piece of advice that I learned is, and I tell other people this, is sometimes you have to do what you have to do to be able to get to do what you want to down the
Yes.
road. I mean, kind of early on in that job, it was a lot. It was a lot because I was wearing all the hats of a business owner
Mhm.
without being the actual business owner, without the profits of a business owner, without and so it was tough. It was tough, but thank God for that experience because once I got to do this, I knew about finding a space.
Right.
I knew about hiring people. I knew all of the things, the back end things that were going to need to be done that I would have been lost without.
Yes. And see, that's the biggest thing, guys. If you are listening, Maciel just dropped so much knowledge right then and there. My big fan, Gary Vee, always talks about it as well, too. I don't know if you listen to Gary Vee or
Yes,
Gary
I do.
Vaynerchuk. I mean, he just like he's like, you guys got to put in the work. And there's some things that you don't want to do, but you have to go through. But also too, at the same time, you could learn from the experience. So he keeps talking about like if you do want to start a business or a clothing company or anything else, work for a company that actually does that.
Yes.
Just just so you could
That
get a feel for what it is that you need to do in that specific job and or role, you know. Let's kind of go into now like how are you showcasing or marketing your business just so that to make sure obviously like whenever you're running a business you want to be profitable too.
sure.
So let's talk sales and like marketing strategies to kind of get your name out there.
Social media. My love-hate relationship with social media. It is that's all it is. I'm very grateful that the people that I had following me when I started my furniture and home decor 8,
Right.
almost 9 years ago, because that sat for a while when I was doing this other job because I
Hmm.
just didn't have the time or any energy left. But they stuck with me. And so when I came back, I already had a decent size following. So it's not like 3 months ago I started from scratch.
Right.
And then so people had already knew me, they already knew my work. And so that helped. And so putting together my classes, I just started posting on there. I started posting, and what was nice is the way this business was kind of designed, it's an extension of what I was doing, and that other women were like, "Oh, I could never do it, but I want to." So it was, now you can.
Ah,
It was that kind of hook that people wanted to come in because they were like, "Wait, I'm gonna be able to do that? I've been watching you do it for
right.
years, and now you're gonna teach me how to do it?" Yeah, I am. And then just posting on that, and I am far from being great at it because I'm still learning and it's time consuming as can be, but
Yeah.
that's my number one source. And then, I mean, I have an email newsletter that I need to put out more often than I do, but it's got on I have a website. And so on my website, I have the pop up that comes up when you go on there
Right.
to opt into emails. And so through that, I've gained people that you can reach, that you can get in front of. So those are the main things I'm doing right now.
Got it. And again, just for all the beginners out there as well, what website platform are you using? Is it Squarespace? Is it which
Shopify.
you're using Shopify? Okay.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
then you create the whole back end aspect of the newsletter or subscribing as well. So that again, guys, nice little tidbit tips. We'll
Yes.
call it tidbit tips.
Yes, and you know what? And that's the thing too that I learned just in this process is there is something for everything.
Yes.
I used to think that I would have to create a website from scratch on my own. I would have to create and figure out how to make a newsletter and, go not literally, but like go asking for email addresses. And you
Hmm.
don't. There is something literally for everything. There are templates for everything. There are social media calendars for free that you
Right.
can look up. There are apps that you can use that will schedule your social media posts. There is literally something for everything in your business. You do not have to come up with it on your own.
That's it. That's
Yeah,
all. That's very true. That is definitely very
right?
true. Talk to me about the creators coming in and teaching as well, because I know you teach. So do you have
Yeah.
other creators like renting space, coming in and then showcasing or trying to bring in their people or their followers, their group to and then
Yeah.
they're teaching and sharing. So let's touch base a little bit more on that.
So the root of that for me was to have a space because like I said, I know, I mean, it is never lost on me how fortunate I am to have my own brick and mortar, to have
Mhm.
my own space, to be able to pay the bills. And so, but I didn't always have it. And I know
Right.
the majority of creatives don't have it. And it's hard. It's hard to run a creative business. No matter what level of creativity it is. And so the core of that for me was to allow them a space to be able to expand their business. So
Mhm.
not only I've had an artist come in and teach acrylic excuse me, acrylic painting, watercolor painting. I have a girl that just started her own charcuterie business,
Yeah.
um, come in and be able to we collaborate on a class. So I teach how to build a serving board and she teaches how to put together a
That's a
charcuterie board.
that's a perfect pairing.
It's awesome. It's awesome. And so, but her and she literally just started her business. So for her to be able to have an actual space to
Mhm.
bring people in, and then also to where I mean, oh, and I have a photographer that she used to be a teacher, and then she started a photography business, and now she wanted to combine them, and so she comes in and she teaches photography classes, which not only for them is that great, but then it's also great for my customers to say, today I want to learn how to paint in watercolor,
Mhm.
but then tomorrow I also want to learn how to use my camera. And then I have photographers come in, which the majority of photographers don't have their own studio. So
Right.
in Chicago, their season is limited to the weather. This helps them expand, having a space that they absolutely, every one of them just loves the lighting in here and the
Yes.
two walls of windows and the high ceilings. So now all of them have been able to expand their season by months, and be able to grow their businesses. So being able to do that for them is
Yeah.
amazing. And then, but nothing because I do have to pay the bills. I mean, it's a
Right.
win-win for me too, because then they're coming in, they're bringing their people.
Right.
Because I can't tell you how many times I've been here for photo shoots and the client comes in and says, "Oh my gosh, I didn't even know this was here." And then
Right.
they come and take a class. So I mean, it really is all about working together. It
Absolutely.
absolutely, we have to. Like, I feel
You
I run on the idea and the belief that we have to like extend our hand to each other. We have to. I mean, I'm not self-made, and neither are you, right?
right.
Like none of us are self-made, and we can't forget that.
Right. No, absolutely. And I love the like that the model that you kind of came up with almost like first thing that popped in my head, I'm like, it's like Airbnb for business. You know what I mean? In
Yeah,
that sense of
right?
like, all right, there's a space, I can rent out the space,
Yeah.
and then bring in, host and then like, yeah.
And then leave,
Yeah, and then
yeah.
like leave, but make sure everything's nice and tidy.
Oh, I love that. I love that.
yeah. Feel free. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, right?
Yeah, no, but that's obviously awesome and amazing that you're helping out all these other, small business owners and also for all the different creatives out there as well. What does so then do you have any employees?
I do.
Okay.
I do. So this was another thing that I was very fortunate to have is, my job that I had the most amazing employees, the most amazing, and, they treated me really well as their boss, and I treated them really well, and so we built relationships, and so when I left that job, I had a couple of them say, "Can you take me with you?" But I didn't even know where I was going, honestly, when I first
Right.
left, and I said, "Yeah, when I figure it out, I will." And so I did. When I had this idea, I reached out to them and I said, "So this is what I have, this idea for this business, for this studio." And
Mhm.
every one of them was like, "Take me." So I have an assistant
Yeah.
that helps with the things that assistants help. And then I have three staff members that run classes and work classes. So
Awesome.
that's huge for me because and for the first couple of months, I ran every single class. And it's
Right.
a lot. It gets to be a lot. So getting them on board with teaching some of the classes so then I don't have to be here
Mhm.
has been great. And then I have a group of girls that work for Love and Food that I call my creative team. And so
Yeah.
we try to get together once a month and just brainstorm ideas because as much as I love being creative, I don't
Right.
have all the ideas. I don't have all the best ideas. So that's been huge for me. just kind of saying, when I was starting to think about, like, Mother's Day is probably going to be really big.
Right.
And putting it out there to my 10 girls and having all of these different, and some stick and some don't.
Right.
And that's okay.
That is
Yeah.
okay because you
And
got to
so
test
just,
and learn.
yes, yes, exactly. And I think that what I try to focus on is finding people that care about your business.
Yes.
Because I can't, especially a business like this, especially a business that runs on a mission like mine, I I can't have just employees. I have to have people that have the heart for it, and
Right.
I'm thankful I found them. But trying to be very careful, but then you treat them that way. So
Right.
when you hire people, I think that that's the number one thing to keep in mind is, are they someone that you are going to respect, that you're going to treat well, because you get what you get. You really do.
Right. No, absolutely. And my head's kind of going on again when I'm thinking about like your business and how you're setting this up within the structure, within the employees. Um, how far ahead do you need to know like what you're offering? Is it 2 weeks in advance or you have the whole month already filled out? Like that's
I
what's like going through my head as right as an again an outsider business owner. I'm like, oh man, all right. If I was in that business, I'm like, how would I set that up? Or what does it
Yeah.
even look like?
Yeah, so when you ask me some of my struggles, I'll tell you that that's one of them. Time
Yeah.
management, trying to do so much at once.
Yeah.
I in an ideal world, I will get to the point where I do have my classes planned out a couple months in advance.
Okay.
Not there quite yet. Not there quite yet, especially being the model that I have in my head. I want
Mhm.
to keep it fresh. I want to keep new projects coming in. I want to keep new classes coming in. And a lot of it is, I mean, it takes so much work, because not only the idea process of it, but
Right.
then building it, like having to, for April, it's spring. I want to do more. I want to have classes on building planters, and I want to have
Right.
gardening classes. Well, I have to try them out before I put them out there,
Right.
So, and all of that takes so much time. So I'm not there yet. So right now, like, I have some classes on my April calendar, but I mean, I would have loved to have it full. I have them
Yeah.
in here.
Right.
I just need to finish the process.
Right.
Yeah.
Uh, do you
Yeah.
do you mind if I, like, kinda chime in and a light bulb this just happens. I'm,
Yeah.
like, all about
Please.
business,
Yes.
and again, you take it for what it is because I just whenever I hear or I vibe off of other business owners, and I love coming in there and, like, maybe helping them with a an idea or a business model, etcetera, to kinda just like, "Oh, hey, have you tried this before?" type thing. So, again, take it for what it is, but
Sure.
first thing that kinda popped in my head is like when you do have, let's say, like the different charcuterie board, personnel
Yeah.
coming in, I wonder if you could kind of build off of that, and maybe that's like a once a month type thing. So again, I think that's up to the business owner who is
Sure.
showcasing,
Mhm.
so that you may have a consistent uh aspect of coming in there as well. The other idea that kind of like popped in my head of again, like you said, the planters. So is that necessarily you, or are you like putting it out there on Instagram? Be like, hey, there's a plant shop out in close by Lamont. Hey guys, why don't
Yeah.
you guys come in? And so now it's almost like a dual. They're going to
Yeah.
teach a class, but then maybe that could be like again, like what you were talking about, like for the month of April, there's like twice a week, or not twice a week, but like once a week, from April through such and such date, they could come in maybe even once a month. So now you
Yeah.
guys are like collaborating in that way. So those are like just kind of things that like popped in my head to kind of help, or again, just in general, of like what
Yeah.
else can you do to bring in other people to showcase like their talents. Um,
Right. Yeah. No, that's so good. And that's one of the things, one of my goals that I want to get to is basically working on templates,
mhm,
having, and it's the same idea as you just said, is, having the month laid out and having a template of, on this day, it's going to be this kind of class, or two times a month, it's going to be this. And then eventually getting to the point where I could just plug in, you
right.
know, and having created enough. connections that I have those resources. And that part of it has been amazing because I do have a lot of people that reach out and want to collaborate, that love the space and want to come in. So it's building for sure.
Yeah.
But that's one of the things that you're absolutely right will make my life a lot easier when I
Yeah.
get there. Yeah.
Efficiency is key. And again, actually don't go back, like don't forget about how you started with the Facebook group page.
Yeah.
And now that there's the Instagram polls too at the same time is asking, right? Your community.
Yes.
What
Yeah.
else would you like to learn? And it could be
Yes.
looking for ideas. And
Yep.
so even if it's not that specific month, that could carry over to like, hey, we have this whiteboard with different ideas. Now we got, because the
Yeah.
market is the market is the market, as Gary Vee would say. And so versus you trying to think about what they want,
Yeah.
what the community wants, they'll
Yes.
they'll help, bring the ideas to you.
Yeah.
Um so yeah, which actually segments, which then is a perfect transition to how I actually found you. So I follow Cheryl Scott. Obviously she's a weather personnel,
Yeah.
and she made a post, and I went down that rabbit hole and followed all that. How did that happen with Cheryl Scott? And let's kind of again touch base on using the social media, how you were able to again utilize networks and everything else like that to make that connection.
It honestly, it came from, and this is what I think to myself because what a cool opportunity for me. I know that. What an amazing opportunity. And it really like goes back when I go way back, it's about doing good work and treating people well. And so I hadn't seen it, but she had posted in her Instagram stories that so her and her fiance had bought a house mid last year,
Right.
and wanted a table and a dining room table. And so I guess in her stories she had posted, that she wanted to hire somebody to build them a table, and just said, hey, does anybody know anybody? Well, I guess someone that knew me, knew my work, so a friend of mine had messaged. And so I had woken up at like 2 in the morning one day, and she said, I had gotten a message, and she said, hey, Cheryl Scott might message you because she was asking for it. And I was like, am I being punked? What are you doing? And so then sure enough, I had a message from Cheryl, and she's like, do you have any interest in this? I got your name from a few people. I put this out and a few people recommended you. And I was like, should I tell her that I'm not like, I'm just a one person? And she was, I mean, just honestly, like such an amazing person. And as much as great of an opportunity it was for me, I'm so grateful. Anybody that hires me to do a job, any one of them could choose anyone.
Right.
So, but I understood like she really could. And so she chose me, and she had me come over and take a look at her space. And we talked, and she said, she goes, I wanted to work with a local designer. I wanted to work with a female that she goes, and I looked at your page. I saw what you did. I loved your aesthetic. She goes, and so you kind of just checked all the boxes.
Yeah.
And as we're standing in her dining room, she says, what do you think? I want to know what you think. And in my head, I knew that she needed a round table in
Yeah.
there, but I had never built one before. So, but I couldn't. And so part of me was like, tell her square because I know that I can get that out. But I couldn't do that. Then, like
Right.
the designer in me, I said, no, needs to be round and I will figure it out. And I
Yeah.
will say that that's one thing I have is that unless I know I can't do something, I'm going to assume I can. So I said, I'm like, I think we need to do round. And then we
Yeah.
just went back and forth, designed the base, and then I did it. And she was amazing because she said, she's like, I want to give you all the shout outs, not that you need it. And I was like, yes, I do. Like, I'm a
Please.
small business. Of course, we always need it.
Yes.
So, and she was, and so I built it, and it thankfully it ended up being exactly her and Dante loved it,
Yes.
which was awesome. And to me, really, it was beyond the fact that she's on the evening news and
Right.
she has this amazing following. To me, it was, here is a woman that intentionally sought out to lift another woman up. She intentionally sought out to work with a female business owner in an industry that is very male dominated,
Right. Yep.
and doing something because, like I said, as you had asked, all of my work is custom. I didn't have something to show her that I had done that looked like that before. So
Right.
there's so much trust that has to go into it. And she did it. She for whatever reason it was, she chose to trust me. And so going back, to me, everything ties in together. So this is, 13 years ago when I decided I'm going to try this. And then I'm going to keep going and I'm going to keep
Right.
learning. And I'm going to keep getting better. And then, connecting that to other people and then just being good to people, being a
Yes.
pleasure to work with. And then so that people will willingly share your name, So yeah.
Maciel, thank you so much. This was awesome. So, thank you for sharing all the knowledge that you have and that you provided us and sharing your story with everything. So, I always end these interviews with our rapid fire fun questions. So, there are 5 questions for you, and then we'll go ahead and get
Okay.
started. So, one thing you could never live without, and it can't be coffee.
Ah, it can't be coffee. Oh man. Okay, so probably, well, of course, my kids and my husband, but beyond that, I think that's everyone's. But beyond that, honestly, my girlfriends.
What do you do to manage your mental health?
Well, I have to get back to it, but running.
Running.
Love running.
Perfect. And what is your current obsession?
Bad TV, streaming bad TV. I know it's not very
what,
deep.
what's on the current queue that you've been binging? Let's just say.
Oh, I just binged that Inventing Anna, that Anna Delvey
Ah,
on Netflix. Yeah,
okay.
it was because you know what? So when I work, if I'm working in my garage,
Yeah.
I literally I'll get through something because I'll work all the entire time and I
Right.
don't want to think much. I don't want to be doing this and thinking too hard about what I'm watching. So that one was good. I just finished it yesterday.
I will add it to my queue. Thank you
Yeah,
for that.
very interesting. Very interesting when you think about like this girl's personality.
Okay.
It was something.
Perfect. What's a morning routine you have to do?
Can I say coffee now?
You sure can.
Yeah.
And then the last question is, what's a good rule you've learned from someone?
My aunt told me a long time ago that as long as you can go to bed at night knowing you've done the best you can, nothing else really matters.
Perfect. That is that is beautiful. Thank you again, Maciel, for sharing your journey with us. Guys, show some love to Maciel. Give us a like, put in the comments, go ahead and subscribe, and follow her on the social media. We're gonna have all of her information below. If you guys are in the area, this is also date night ideas per se.
Yes.
Come on, fellas, if you are listening, this is a perfect opportunity as well. But
Or
yes, so
girls to
or
bring
girls
your
too.
fellas. Girls, bring your guys. Yes.
Yes, vice
Yes.
versa too.
Right.
I do like that as well. So just amazing, amazing ideas. So if you guys been listening or watching wherever you are in the world, please make sure to share your biggest insights. Let us know your key takeaways and what else you guys like to learn on this channel. I am here to help and guide you through your entrepreneurial journey. So thank you for tuning in, Maciel. Again, it's been a pleasure. Thank you again for watching. If you want any more videos just like this one, don't forget to go ahead and subscribe and check out these other videos right over here. We post a new video every Wednesday. Thanks again for checking us out.